we kind of glean the poetry from various sources, but Maggie and I were talking about the poetry a lot before shooting, and you had a connection to Paul Muldoon at The New Yorker, and we had both loved this poet Ocean Vuong, who I don't know if you guys know him, but he's just amazing.
We were like, let's just try. Let's just ask him.
Like, let's just email him and see what happens.
Yeah. And he sent us 10 poems,
he was psyched. He was like, I'd love to be part of this. And then we contacted a young poet named Kaveh Akbar, who's wonderful as well. And also, like, both of them are the child of immigrants. And so it kind of all fit in kind of beautifully. And then there's a poem by a 5-year-old girl who is the child of a friend of mine in Massachusetts. And she just wrote this spectacular thing, posted it on Facebook, and I saw it and I was like, you know, is this for real? And she said, yeah, absolutely. She's been writing poetry for quite some time now, and we're not even sure what to do with it. And so we use that. That's actually the poem that is dictated to Lisa on the telephone. And it's just a phenomenal, kind of just weird
Sarah,
piece.
can I just say, when I read the script, I was like, how can this be this good? How can this be this good? I was like, the story absolutely hinged on that for me. That he was a magnificent poet, you know, by just being able to spit that. You know what I mean? And I remember that was like the most exciting thing about the movie to me when I first initially like had read about it and knew about it, because I was like, oh wow, they're getting real good poets to make these, and it really works. So anyway, that's one of the.
And you know, Lisa's poetry is really beautiful too. A wonderful poet named Dominique Townsend wrote all of Lisa's poetry, and that was important to us too, that her poetry not be, you know, mediocre, that actually be something that you could take seriously. And, you know, I think the film asks, like, who decides what, you know, what art is, you know, what is art and what isn't, and, you know.
I think that was, at least for me, that was my husband's contribution. My husband is an actor, and it's just lately, he doesn't really want to talk about work at home ever, except I was emailing with Dominique Townsend about the poems that she'd sent us, and I was saying, you know, I don't know, is there some way you can make them a little more mediocre or obvious or something? And Peter said, why? It's a much better movie if she's really a poet to be taken seriously and she's not being heard. And that like fundamentally changed the way I was looking at the script. I was like, thanks, Peter.